set it up on my iPhone, and then I came on the Samsung to pull it up, and I think it did something to the actual live that I was just doing. I don't know what that was all about. That was pretty weird. It didn't even register it. So I'm interested in what just happened with my live that was just going on. It literally literally disappeared from the platform. I hope everybody's here. It's nice to see you. I came in here so we could have a little bit more light. And I hope everybody's doing well this Sunday. Give me a second. And while you guys are coming in here, I'm going to be pulling some stuff up because I don't think you guys saw what I had originally put out there. Give me just a second. Hey guys, if you guys are here, it's nice to see you. It's great having you. Thank you. I think I did something. I had my live go forward, but I set it up on this phone and then ran it on this phone, and then all of a sudden it was still recording me, but nothing was happening to the video. It just like, and I'm like, and there was like, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here? It had 14 likes, but there was 0 people in here, and I think it had something to do with the fact that I set the live up on this phone and then came to this phone I don't know what happened. That's what I think happened. Did you guys see me live at all? Or was it just no? Because I'm telling you, these social media apps are censoring people that are talking about this assassination attempt unless it's got something to do with media. I am media. So, you know, I don't think it had anything to do with that because I've never done, you know, like set one up on here and then pulled it up on here before. I think it had something to do with that. No, TikTok, I'm going to be doing a protest out in front of their main headquarters. I'm going to be doing it before the end of this year. I'm also going to be working with my state Congress, as well as I'm going to start reaching out to Congress members on the House and Senate to support their efforts in getting it sold to an American-based company. I'm so sick of, third world countries and dictatorship countries telling me what I can and cannot say sitting in the United States of America, where we have the right and the freedoms to speak freely. So, and not only that, they're protected by 230. So I don't know why they keep that section 230 if they're going to keep doing this. I believe YouTube settled down. Facebook has settled down quite a bit. TikTok, you can pretty much have somebody's head, literally, right? And you can put it on TikTok or Twitter. So Twitter is you can see some really graphic stuff on Twitter. They don't stop people from speaking freely on their app. It's just the TikTok app. The TikTok app is so overran with people on the left that can spew venom, and they don't mind the misinformation as long as it's in favor of Trump. But everything else is flagged as misinformation for anybody. Like even my Trump videos, they get no airtime, but yet these other people related to Biden do. And I just think that is so totally wrong. Like President Trump almost got his head blown off, and they're censoring people's commentary on it. And that is literally just to help Joe Biden, which they think is going to save their company. Well, Joe Biden's on his way out. Literally, he's literally got one foot on a banana peel and one in the casket already. He's a dementia patient from the geriatric ward running our freaking country. It's a little problematic for me. So I figured I wanted to show you guys this because you guys didn't get a chance to see it, and I want to show you guys it, and then we're going to show something a little funnier. And this is kind of the makeup. I don't agree with this because there was a shot that came from a different angle, but let me get it back.
God, the area we're going to focus in on. This is the area we're going to focus in on. Here you can see the 3 victims that were injured by gunfire and where they were standing in the bleachers. We're going to turn around and demonstrate exactly where these bullets came from. This model represents Thomas Crooks. His position can be seen here in this image, which illustrates exactly where he was. Turning around, we can see the path of all the bullets that were fired from this location. I placed a 10-foot red disc downrange to represent what an average shooter could hit easily. Now let's take a look at this first shot fired. Coming from our key location, bullet 1 grazes President Trump's ear. This is the same bullet that hits a spectator in the stands. We know this through video evidence. As President Trump is talking,
and I just want to let you know that this right here would have been banned on TikTok. They can put this on there, but it probably wouldn't get views. And if I were to play it on my live, they would say that this is misinformation. This right here. This is what they would say is misinformation.
Take a look at what happened.
Something that said, take a look at what happened.
We can see the vapor trail of a bullet strike, which is the same bullet that struck President Trump's ear a split second earlier, and this video is this location here. Back at the podium, President Trump is shot and grabs his ear, falling to the ground as more shots rang out. In total, there were 7 or 8 shots, so let's rewind and watch this at regular speed.
Take a look at what happened.
With all that gunfire, it's easy to understand how these spectators were injured, even though they were not the target, including the sole spectator who lost his life that day. As we circle around, we can see how all the paths of the bullets were hitting in the location of this forklift machine, causing one of the hydraulic hoses to burst.
So as you guys saw, that was probably one of the most accurate depictions that we've had as far as placement, layout, how everything kind of went. I still believe, because we have seen a shadow, we've seen a figure. Unredacted here on YouTube has provided a clearer shot. You can't see who it is, but you can see a figure up there on the water tower. We also heard through other people that they saw somebody ziplining from that water tower and got into a black suburban vehicle. And we're hearing that that's part of the United States agriculture or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but they said that they saw this vehicle leaving at a high rate of speed. How true that is, I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't know if I would have paid attention or if I would have been able to see if anybody was on that water tower, but it's clear that somebody was. And my problem is they knew that water tower was going to be a problem. They knew that building was going to be a problem. We're finding out that it wasn't just law enforcement in the building underneath Crooks, that it sounds like it was Secret Service stationed in that building underneath Crooks. And we're all just sitting here, and of course law enforcement is stating that he must have hid the gun, when he came there. And my question is if we all believe that this was, even the people that wish this guy would have never missed, I don't think anybody's disputing as to whether this was a coordinated attack or not. It was. It was planned. With who is the question. And of course, our police state, our FBI and our Secret Service are going to try to attach this man to some foreign leader or foreign national or foreign something or other. I can already see it just by the way that they're trying to couch this. They first try to couch it that he was a lone wolf, and nobody bought it. Like literally nobody bought it. So now they're changing their rhetoric. They're changing their lies. They're staging this. We had CrowdStrike bring down servers and systems, so something was scrubbed off of our computers. The deep state has their hands in literally everything. Okay, they control everything we see, everything we hear, what we are allowed access to. There's stuff that they don't allow us to have access to, right? And so we got Laura Loomer asking for public records, and the comment and the response that they provided Laura Loomer is ridiculous. We're trying to find out what happened, and they have no good reason for withholding it from people. And people are like, oh, well, it's an active investigation. Yes, it's an active investigation. And I realize that it's an active investigation, but the people are still entitled to FOIA requests. And according to Laura Loomer, I just want to read this to you. This is a letter right there. This came July 19th. And it says, Dear Requester, this letter is to acknowledge receipt of your request, a Freedom of Information request received for the United States Secret Service on July 19th. 1. Reports related to USSS progress in meeting its staff target, increasing the Secret Service workforce by 300 persons per year in fiscal year 2023 through 2025. Only 300 in that little bit of time. And an increase 119 personnel in fiscal year 2021 and 209 in 2022. So you add 209 in 2022, you add 119 in 2021, and then you say for an entire 2-year period, you're only going to add 300 additional? Doesn't make sense. But established under the fiscal year 2021 to 2025 Human Capital Strategic Plan, the plan. The number of USS personnel and staffing targets in the plan for the Uniform Division for each month, January 2021 through the date preceding, including records sufficient to show the number of personnel and targets for each of the following: Airspace Security Branch, K-9 Explosive Detection Unit, Counter Assault Teams, Counter Sniper Teams, Counter Unmanned Aerial Systems, Emergency Response Team, Hazardous Agent Mitigation Medical Emergency Response Team, Specialized Rifle Unit and Technology Operation Branch. The number of USSS personnel and staffing targets in the plan for the Presidential Protective Division, the detail, for each month since January 2021 through the date preceding. The number of USSS personnel and staffing targets in the plan for former President Detail Protection Division for each month from January 2021 to the date preceding. They still don't tell us how many. The number of USS personnel and staffing targets in the plan for at each USSS field office of July 13th, 2024. This is the hogwash. The identity of USS staffing targets as defined by other means than workforce targets cover the request 5 above on July 13th. It says you have requested expedited proceedings of your request under the Department of Homeland Security standards permitting expedition when a requester demonstrates a compelling need. Your request for expedited treatment has been denied. They're basically saying, please be advised your request has been denied because you do not qualify under either category. They also have another category for DHS and FOIA regulations, blah, 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 and I'm not going to read that. You have not demonstrated that there is a threat to the life or physical safety of an individual, nor have you demonstrated there is a particular urgency to inform the public about the government activity involved in the request. This is the hogwash that they're sending Laura Loomer to deny her request for information as to what happened. Not that they're not willing to give it, just that she has not demonstrated the need to loss of life or demonstrated that a particular urgency to inform the public about the government activity involved in the request. Everybody wants to know at this point what in the hell happened that day. I can tell you everybody does. Even the people that want this, that wanted this to happen and are upset that he missed. They want to know what happened. Everybody wants to know what happened. Let's put, let's not stop all this nonsense, Everybody wants to know what happened that fateful day, and nobody is getting it. Why national security briefings for Trump are such a bad idea. Trump may receive intelligence brief despite classified documents case. Donald Trump potentially being briefed on U.S. intelligence, raise eyebrows. These are some headlines. Bolton perplexed about reports of Trump receiving intelligence briefing if GOP nominee. Well, you know what? Bolton needs to go and retire and enjoy the retired life. If you asked me, I think he is part of the problem in our country. I think we need to bring on both sides of the aisle. We need younger people. This geriatric ward that we have in Congress is starting to get a little, I don't know, problematic for me. You know, we got people that are sitting in their chairs with dementia. We've got a president that's sitting in his chair with literally the nuclear codes that has dementia. What if he pulls out those codes and hands it to the wrong person because he forgot he's the president? These are, I mean, I'm making light of it, but this is reality. What if? You know, you don't see me joking about it. I'm serious. Who else has their hands on those nuclear codes? Would he remember who he gave them to? All I can tell you is something majorly happened out there in Durrell. You know, things were weird in Virginia, things were weird in Durrell, and then I miss Pennsylvania, and that's where Donald Trump almost got executed. There was something not right. You know, I've never left a Trump rally before, and I left the Durrell rally because of the way it was being run, and that's the truth of it. And it was very hot out there. People were falling out. I truly think that they were trying to kill somebody in that line, to be honest with you, because I've never seen a rally where it was that hot that they weren't passing around cold waters in the line just as a courtesy. That's what they've always done at these hot rallies, every single one of them. And this one they didn't. And I heard that it was much of the same in Pennsylvania, that people were falling out in the crowd and nobody was providing them water. We had water that was being provided to a lady that had fallen out, and they put the water on her wrist, and she bellowed out in pain because the water was so hot. They were using boiling hot water in these water jugs that had been sitting out in the sun for literally 3 days to cool the audience, to cool the people down. It sounds like this was, it sounds like people intentionally dropped the ball. They used unqualified people to secure the president. They used short women that couldn't even holster their gun. Listen, I don't do identity politics. If you know anything about me, it's about results and who can get the job done. If it doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, black, white, green with yellow polka dots, you know, come from, a planet from far and wide. I really don't care who you are, as long as you can produce results. Short women trying to cover, like literally one of these ladies were hiding behind Trump as he's being shot. She should be fired from her job. I don't care if that was not her job or not. It was that day, and she failed miserably and couldn't even holster her damn weapon. Never seen that woman in my life. There were a lot of new faces when you look there. His detail was the same. His main detail was the same, but why so many changes? Why so many changes? I don't know. I don't know. But I definitely am not going to let them censor us. I am planning on doing, I'm not sure when exactly, but I plan on doing a protest in front of TikTok headquarters before the end of the year. This is going to be a protest for our First Amendment rights to be on the platform. We have a right to speak, and they try to silence us when it is a controversial conversation. They have no right to do that. They cannot do that if it's an American-based company. I definitely believe that it needs to be an American-based company. And, if the algorithm changes because they give the American people their freedom of speech, I really don't care. I don't really go, I only go on that platform to advocate to a larger audience. And when they cripple me from being able to do that, it's not an effective app for me. And it's considering that even bringing legitimate facts to that platform, you can be deplatformed, is very, very problematic for me. I'm not deplatformed by any stretch of the imagination, but after the second hit on my smaller account from these leftist idiots, I've decided that, you know what, during this conversation, it's going to be had right on this platform, because this platform gives me the ability to have my voice be heard. I think that TikTok needs a class action lawsuit by its subscribers for willful violation of our constitutional rights. They are acting they have literally a headquarters in California, and all of our data stored in Texas. They have to follow American law, and they are not. And actually, what they're doing is very, very dangerous in our country. Freedom of speech is our very first American right here, our constitutional American right, freedom of press and freedom of speech. And they are literally peeing all over our Constitution on their platform. And that is not acceptable for me. And I always fight for injustice, even if it's going to be a big corporation like TikTok. Will I ultimately lose my account? I might ultimately lose my account, and I really don't care. It's so easy to build a new account on there. It's so easy to get followers on there with a person like me and such well name recognition. It really doesn't bother me one way or another. The account will be built up, and it'll be built up big. Like even my backup account, I've only had it for a few months, and it's already got well over 2,500 people associated with it. And the other one I was able to get in one case. I got probably 75,000 people on one case that followed me. So it's only one of those simple things. It's not going to cause me any heartburn, grief, or anything else. It's just one platform. I literally make maybe $100 off of it a month. Unless I have a viral video, and I haven't done anything on there to have a viral video. I haven't even created videos on there for any of them to go viral. So as far as the app is concerned, I really don't care about it. It's not something that that bothers me in the least. Our American right to speak and to have our voices heard is more important to me than my account on TikTok. And so I'm planning on doing something with TikTok to help support Congress. And I think a class action lawsuit is exactly the way it needs to go. If we can't get a class action lawsuit against violations of constitutional rights, then or civil rights, then I'm definitely going to be doing a letter of intent to sue and suing them myself, right? So we'll see how all this breaks off, but at the end of the day, TikTok needs to be held accountable for their willful violation of American law here on this country and here on this land, especially when they have a headquarters here. They are required to follow our laws, and our laws supersede their community standards. Not only that, misinformation is so subjective. Who makes the determination what's misinformation, and what metrics are used to establish that? These metrics are willy-nilly. They're emotional, and I'm sorry, that's unacceptable for anybody on that platform. So that's what I'll be doing. I'm going to be working on that. I've got, I've obviously got this filing, these 2 filings, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 filings I need to do throughout this week in my court matter. And so we will see what's what as soon as I'm done filing everything I need to rally the National Guards. I'm not rallying the National Guards. I'm rallying TikTok headquarters in California. And I want them to see my sign. I'm going to be out there with my bullhorn. They will hear my voice. This needs to be an American-based company. I've never been more sure of it in my life. I see what they're doing. Once again, they are pandering to the Biden regime and silencing the critics of the regime. And there is no place for that in our country at all. That is so dictatorship. That is so communist Chinese. This is not what America's about. We have a right to speak freely on this app. We have a right to speak freely on Facebook's app. We have a right to speak freely on every single other American-based app, with the exception of TikTok, which doesn't mind you showing your titties or your butt, or looking like a hoochie mama. You can do that on their thing. You can totally give it all away, almost next to fans only, but let you have an adult talk conversation on that app, and it's not well taken. It is well taken by many people like me on that app. We all want to watch this stuff. We all want to hear news, but they're not allowing the news to be on there. So I'm going to be working very hard to convert most of the people on TikTok over here on this platform, where we can have our voice heard and have adult conversations over here. There's a lot of stuff that is going on, but I figured we would start off with just a little bit of comedy. All right, we all need We all need to have a little comedy in our life. So I figured we'd do this little satire. Again, another piece that would probably be misinformation because we're not even allowed to joke about anything on TikTok.
Of the Secret Service, and I'm also a woman, and that's a big deal. Now, can I define what a woman is? I can't, but that's not what I'm here to talk to you about today. I'm here to talk to you today about sloped rooftops. Most civilians go about their day completely unaware of sloped rooftops, but not the Secret Service. We are aware of every single sloped rooftop within our vicinity. And we avoid these sloped rooftops at all costs because we know how dangerous they really are. Unfortunately, most civilians do not fully comprehend the severity of sloped rooftops. I mean, you could tumble right off one of those suckers, or you could roll. You could roll off of a sloped rooftop like a little burrito, just right off of it. It's really terrifying. So yes, we have sworn to protect the president at all costs. But we have to draw the line somewhere. And that somewhere is sloped rooftops.
Wouldn't want to hurt those agents on the slope rooftops. I wonder what they do when they're in the mountains of Afghanistan or these other areas that they have to scale, like, oh, and then the Benny. Oh, you guys got to see his intro. Oh my God, it is freaking hilarious. You guys got to watch. Have you guys watched Benny's intro? Benny's intro is freaking hilarious. Let me find him.
Indistinguishable from
I mean, come on. This stuff is, we're laughing about it, but it's not funny. Their excuses have not been well taken. It's lies. I don't believe the FBI is going to investigate. I don't believe Chris Wray. I don't believe Cheadle. I don't believe any of their ability to do a proper investigation when they can't even properly secure a freaking president. Okay? I don't trust them. I believe that it's going to be cover their ass. They're already trying to, let's talk about what they already tried to narrate for the people. They already tried to narrate this lone wolf BS, right? Then they try to narrate that they're not going to be able to break into this lone wolf's phone, right? And America and the American people rejected that. And then we find out they were able to lickety-split get right into his phone. Of course they were. Of course they were. We know better. And then they are now starting to look at international threats. Now we already see that they're going to try to tie this lone wolf with some whacked out overseas. No. And they're already starting to talk about how he brought the gun there. There's no evidence that he brought the gun to those grounds. Now, the gun was there. I acknowledge that. We definitely know that because he had it. Who put it by that air conditioning? Because they're trying to say he did. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Ain't nobody said he came in with a gun. They said he came in with a backpack. Him to assemble that from his backpack would have been very difficult in the time that he had. So where did the gun come from? Because we had Secret Service and other law enforcement literally stationed inside that building. Would it be so far to see somebody in a police uniform walking back there looking like they're checking the area? Then we find out there's no drones. Then we find out that the police out there had no body cameras. Then we find out that there was no communication between all of the alphabet soups that were out there. What? So literally every single policy and procedure that was known to keep President Trump was willfully neglected. Willfully neglected. Like, this is something that the common person, me and you, would know not to do, right? We would most likely go there and not see a sniper on that roof and say, man, that's awfully close roof to President Trump. Normal people were already stating something to those effects before the president went on stage. They knew that there was a suspicious person that they could not identify and could not find an hour before Trump went on stage. Why was he allowed to go on stage? And I can guarantee, because it was not communicated, this threat was not communicated to his detail. His detail cares a great deal about him. So his detail would never have allowed him to go on stage, in my opinion, if they knew that there was an active threat on the ground. So that tells me nobody communicated that to his detail. Why? Lots of questions here. Lots of questions we couldn't even begin to have on the platform of TikTok, because we have a bunch of children on there, and the TikTok app is ran by a bunch of communists. So if we want to know why the United States is trying to ban TikTok, we have a clear understanding after the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump. Exactly the reason for all of this. And, you know, I was in support of it before, and whenever Trump started talking about taking the app down, I was in absolute support of it. And our county, we're not even allowed to have the TikTok app on our county phones, you know? So the county employees can't have TikTok app on them. It is a security violation. So if our government can't have TikTok app on their phones because of the spying, and we're normal people saying, well, you know, sorry, but we're a little ignorant, even myself at times, right? We don't care if they spy on us. What do we care? You know, we're just Joe Blow. We're just Joe Blow. But it tells them a lot. If the Chinese Communist Party was spying on the regular Joe, it's telling them, you know, how fast we're going, think about it. What information does our phones hold? It tells us the rate of speed we're moving. It tells us where we're going. It tells them without them even looking at the map or even looking at the roads, how clogged or congested one road is, how open another road is, where somebody particularly is in this country, right? It is, you know, it is a security thing. They're saying they're from Singapore, but they're maintaining that all their databases is on in Texas. But the one thing that they're not addressing is, why are they forever trying to restrict our freedom of speech, yet want to work in the United States of America, which requires our freedom of speech? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I hope, and I am going to have to run this on TikTok, and I'm probably going to have to set up probably about 3 more accounts so I make sure that we can get the message out. So hopefully when I get those 3 accounts set up, we go ahead and get those with our numbers. We need to have at least 1,000 for me to go live, but I want all 3 of them to have at least 1,000 people. So when we start protesting TikTok, we don't go down, and when we do go down, we have another backup channel to go back up with. So I'm going to be working on that. I hope you guys support me on that end. And we're going to continue to rock it out with our coffee beans out. We're going to continue to advocate as we see. And I am going to continue to, advocate for the injustice in this country. Some of it is our missing people and our deceased people. And some of it is our alive people that are just being silenced because they have no way of not being silenced. They have no ability or have any knowledge on how to fight these big corporations. Well, even if that's the problem, is I don't care what platform I'm on, no matter where I go, people will follow. I absolutely am a firm believer of that. So I'm not too worried about that app, and I'm not too worried about losing my accounts. So we're going to work on losing those accounts on TikTok. And I'm absolutely committed in losing my main account on TikTok because I refuse to be silent. If you guys would like, please be sure to go over there and hit the TikTok up, subscribe to it, subscribe to my backup channel, which is Bullhorn Betty 2.0. And continue to support me on here on both of my channels here, which is Bullhorn Betty and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. I also have BHB for President on both of those apps. Those would be awesome if we can get those up and running as well. I think they're very low. I don't really produce a lot on them, but when I do, I need to get the message out. And so that would actually help keep some of the stuff off these main channels if we had the backup channels performing as well. Like our Crime Stories is as actually, when I go on our Crime Stories channel, it does perform just about as equally as my stuff performs on this app, on this main channel. And I only have like 8,000 people on that channel. So I want to get that over 10,000. That would be nice to have 2 channels over 10,000 on this app. And then we'll start working on our BHB for President, because that's going to need to be up and running by 2028. So we have plenty of time to build that channel and get more content on that channel throughout the years. We also have BHB for President over on, I think it's Betty for President is what I've got it for, at Betty for President. It might be at BHB for President on TikTok as well. Go over there and hit those channels up. Let's get those channels over to 1,000 people, and that would be awesome. Getting to Sebastian Rogers, as many of you know, I need to call Seth today. I need to chat with him. I haven't talked to him in a little while. I've been so busy trying to deal with court papers, trying to deal with, this whole assassination attempt against President Trump, trying to figure out how whether or not I was going to cover the case, and if so, how I was going to cover the case. And I'm sorry, I'm going to cover the case, and I'm going to do it in an old Bullhorn Betty fashion. It's balls to the walls. It's no different than any other case. The people that are talking to us, I don't believe. The people that are giving us information, I don't believe. It's just like, I'm treating our federal government like I'm treating Chris and Katie, because that's how I feel about them. I feel that they try to do something deranged. I feel like they're trying to cover their ass. I feel like the CrowdStrike was definitely, they had no choice. The reason why it had to be so disruptive is because they had to clear the information off the internet, and they had to do it right then and there. I don't think they could wait any longer because of the investigation. It was about to go into it, and I think they needed to scrub the internet, and I think they did it through CrowdStrike. I also don't think the bombing over in Israel is also, anything out of the ordinary. I think it's absolutely a distraction to try to distract people from what's going on. I think the hit was because President Biden could not win this election, and the only way he could win this election at this point is if Donald Trump was not here. It's awfully funny that everybody was pressuring Biden to get out. We've got rumors that there was congressmen talking about it was about to get worse. We've got people shorting Trump stock all of the sudden and shorting Rumble stock all of the sudden. So that tells me people knew that this was coming, before it happened. Therefore, this idea that this was unplanned is ridiculous. There's too many pieces that fit together like a glove, and our government is not smarter than a 5th grader, okay? So a lot of parents out there have 5th graders giving them advice, and it seems like it's spot on. We got the geriatric ward in Congress that keeps forgetting we have the internet. And we don't believe them anymore. They can no longer manipulate at least 85 plus million people in this country that are gun-toting Americans. Congress should be very worried. They should be very worried because they're trying to take our rights away from us. They try to take our president away from us. And now we're fighting to get this country back. And, it's unfortunate, but if Donald Trump would have been unalived, I can tell you people would have went to the streets. We don't go to the streets. That we leave the burning and crashing and burning to the left because that's what they do. But there would have been unrest in this country, and there would have been lethal unrest in this country. I absolutely believe. I'm glad it happened the way it happened. I'm glad that people on both sides are trying to unify this country, but it's a day late and a dollar short because you got all these people deranged and you can't walk that back now. You got these people completely brainwashed and you cannot walk that back now. These people are going to spend the rest of their life being disgruntled and thinking that if they don't like you, they can just take you out. And that is the culture that this country has provided. They have provided safe havens for bad acting, for criminal conduct, and has had nobody accountable to their bad behavior. And when they are accountable, they hush it up and throw it under the rug when law enforcement makes them accountable. All that summer of love, we never heard about those people going to jail. Some of them did. We never heard about it because they didn't want their people to know that they were getting thrown in jail for 10 and 15 years for the crimes that they committed. It would be a deterrent for more people to do something like that. So they hushed that up. It is becoming very scary in our country, and I'm very happy that Donald Trump, I wrote him a letter. I emailed him actually and told him, as well as many of our counterparts, that we have 4 months to get here. We need inside rallies. I want him to make it to the finish line, and we need inside rallies and to see Michigan inside in a big, beautiful covered arena made my heart happy. I feel like he's listening. We love the outdoor rallies. I can tell you a Trump rally is, even if you don't believe in Trump, just going for the experience, just to see what it's like, I think everybody should do. It is absolutely just a love fest. And I'm not talking about the summer of love fest. I'm talking about a true love fest. People, all walks of life, men, women, children, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, everybody, Cuban, all these people from all walks of life being there, attending. You know, there is never all those thousands and thousands and thousands, think about it, 40,000 people, and never a fight breaking out at one of these rallies ever since their inception. 40 plus, there's been times when there was 1 million people, and there were no fights that broke out amongst the crowd. That is unheard of, especially when we hear that we are just the most violent people in the world, that we're next to Hitler, that, doom and gloom, we have to be euthanized, executed, and everything else. It's awfully funny that it's not Democrat presidents that are got the bullseye on them. It just seems like it's Republican presidents that do. It seems like every time we turn around and there's these mass shootings, it seems like it's somebody on the left that had a bad day, that couldn't handle rejection, or a number of reasons of why they must take out innocent people for no other good reason than to make themselves feel good, which is pretty sick and twisted and demented. So why is the left screaming gun control when they're the ones holding the guns? Are they just trying to take all of the law-abiding guns away from the law-abiding citizens while their people run amok and use those type of weapons against us? Is that the real reason why they are screaming gun control? Because people like me that actually have brain cells believe there's a people problem in this country, not a gun problem in this country. And the people problem is a direct result of our education system. And I'm going to keep saying that, because we have social justice warriors that were in the classroom that completely brainwashed our students. A whole generation, 2 generations of students completely screwed for the rest of their life. They're going to be the most disgruntled of the groups, those 2 generations. They're never going to make it. Why? Because they were lied to by their government. They were lied to by their teachers, and they went out and spent thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars to get certificates and diplomas in fields that never existed. So now they're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and have to go to Starbucks to make a $25,000 a year job to try to pay back their $100,000 a year school debt. And then Biden, in an effort to buy votes, decided to put their school debt that they created for these students with these crap diplomas and certification and programs that they had them in. Now we're saddled as the American public to pay for all of their school. Everybody in here either went to college or didn't go to college, but I guarantee we didn't have anybody pay for our college. We had to work our ass off and pay those bills back ourselves. So we wonder where the entitlement is coming, because the Democrats have to buy their votes, so they just give. You guys need money? Sure. We'll take it from the middle class. Here you go. They don't need it. They're struggling. They can barely put milk on their table, but here, go out and get a plane ticket and go on a vacation. Go on a vacation with their money. It's okay. That's what's going on here. Meanwhile, me and you are struggling. All right. Well, thank you for letting and indulging me into that topic of conversation. Let's get to Sebastian Rogers. Is there anything else I wanted to show about that? I think we went over a lot of this stuff yesterday. Oh, yes, there is one more. We're making believers out of people. People don't want to believe. People have taken the blinders off and have woken up.
I've been saying this for the better part of 2 years, but there is a spiritual awakening going on in this country right now, and people are literally weeping in response to the RNC convention. First, we have Don Jr., who's crying watching his father walk in after surviving an assassination attempt, and now this lady. Check this out.
I've been a Democrat for nearly 50 years. Why am I crying over the Republican National Convention? What is going on? I've been told my whole life Republicans are just all, white and racist men and all of this. You don't know unless you go see for yourself and stop listening to what people tell you. The patriotism, the coming together. I'm telling you, if you on the outside and you think MAGA is this horrible thing, I don't know what to tell you besides you have to see for yourself. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Everybody's saying that this doesn't exist. People aren't leaving the party in droves. I can promise you they are. People that have been part of the Democratic Party. This lady's been a part of the Democratic Party for a half a century. And she's had enough. She's absolutely had enough. And that would have been censored off of TikTok. So if people want to know why I'm going to be protesting the headquarters, it's for our freedom of speech on the platform. And I do hope that other content creators advocate for it and come out and show up in support of getting our voice back on a platform that is meant for people's voice. It's pretty odd for me. All right, that's it. So, Sebastian Rogers. We're still moving forward with the protest out in front of Sumner County on August 26, 2023, or 2024 rather. We're going to be doing and it's not even a protest. We're going to call it a gathering of voices for Sebastian, because that's really what it is. That's the protest I'm doing at TikTok's going to be a protest. This is a gathering of voices because we're coming in a place of love, not condemnation. We're coming there for the greater good. We're coming there to get very specific things done, predominantly forensics. And you know what? I'm going there, and it's, again, not self-serving. It's not self-serving. These are my demands, not Seth's demands, And it's to clear Seth so he can bring in resources. Now, if those resources would come in without Seth being cleared, then hey, I'm all good, right? I still think Seth should be cleared because he has nothing to do with the disappearance of his son. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't a requirement to get resources to help him, then I wouldn't be pushing for it. I'd let that process kind of play out the way it should play out. But in this situation, we don't have time for that to play out because law enforcement, it's been 6 months. It appears they're allowing this to go cold. It appears that they dropped the ball on a lot of different things as we know it because we cover these types of cases, predominantly children's cases. And you know what I find funny? Is do you know that Summer Wells, they had forensic testing done. So why would this other Tennessee case not have any forensic testing done, yet TBI was involved? It does not make sense. So we're trying to get forensic testing done. We're trying to allow Seth to be able to bring in a third-party resource to help him. And we're trying to find out if they'll start opening up lines of communication with Seth. He's been in the dark, and typically this is what does happen. Why I think it's so important that somebody create a pamphlet of what is going to happen if something happens to your child. Something that kind of embraces, allows parents to embrace what is going on. Not that it's going to be any easier to deal with, but at least they know what to expect in the unexpected. And I really hope one day somebody does create this pamphlet. Maybe we will design a pamphlet. Maybe we will get something that goes out, because there's nobody that knows this stuff better than me. I've met with a lot of parents that have grieved for their unalived child or their missing child. I've watched it firsthand. I've held parents when they've been crying, when they've been at their absolute lowest. I've interviewed parents, including Steve and Christy Gonzalez in the Idaho 4. We got recognition by that Bloom guy. We've got recognition through our work on Web Sleuths for Paramount. And I was on interviewed for the BBC. They have one that came out on BBC. So, there's a lot of stuff that we've done. There's a lot of experience I have, especially with parents that are going through this. But I'm hoping that somebody does it, because to be honest with you, I don't have time to prepare a pamphlet, okay? Would like a nonprofit or other organization to create something like that. But either way, the bottom line is they're not communicating with Seth Rogers. They're not even telling him whether they're further along in their investigation than they were the day they started. They've ghosted the public, and I know people say that we have no rights to know. We don't have the rights to the integrity of the investigation aspect. Okay, I want to make sure that that's loud and clear. No, we do not have the right to their investigation, but the public deserves updates. They deserve to hear from their elected officials. They deserve to understand what is going on and whether law enforcement has forgotten about a case or is actively working a case. They absolutely have the rights to that information. Actually, it is due to them by FOIA specifically. Freedom of information. They have a right to know. They do not have the right to know about the investigative policies, procedures, or what's going on in that specific investigation. That I will agree with all day long. But to think that elected officials that work for the people don't have to answer to the people, you've lost your damn mind. They absolutely do. So hopefully, I'm hoping that I can just cancel the protest on August 26th, because I'm hoping that they schedule forensics. I hope that they allow the Cold Case Foundation to come in and assist, and I hope that they can produce results. Find Sebastian, but they haven't done any of those things yet. And we're going to be 6 months into the case without one stitch of forensics. I've never heard of anything. You know where I heard this from? In the Montgomery case. It took them 2.5 years to finally go and get forensics. 2.5 years. This is not New Hampshire. This is Tennessee. It shouldn't be this way. I don't even like every single policy and procedure that I have read calls for forensic testing. Why they don't have forensic testing is beyond me. And also, if somebody can, I don't know. I know I have a lot of graphic designers here. We now have if you guys can put together a flyer, I want to see, and we'll vote on the flyers to use. If we can get it done by this week, by Friday, I want to see. I would like flyers. Because we were going to do the names for the feet. Jennifer sponsored $25. We never did that, so we still have $25 in the pool. So there's going to be a $25 gift card to the winning flyer that advertises the gathering of voices. The gathering of voices for Sebastian Rogers. I want Sebastian's Army on that. I want Sebastian Strong on that. I'd like to see a full-size dragon, obviously green, you guys get the idea. I want you guys to use your own imagination and creativity. And we're going to put a deadline on that for Friday. Today's Sunday. That's 5 days. Certainly we can come up with a good and legitimate flyer for this gathering of voices. And just to let you know, it's going to be at the Sumner County Sheriff's Department in Gallatin, Florida, Gallatin, Tennessee, good gracious. And it's going to be on August 26, 2024 from 9 a.m. to noon. At the end of the gathering, we are going to have some cake and prayer. I may do it opposite. We may have cake, prayer, and protesting, but I think I'm going to wait until after we are. Depends on what kind of cake we got and whether it's going to hold up in the heat, right? So that's really what I'm going to be doing. I wish I could, if somebody has a boombox, like a microphone thing that we could Bluetooth and play like Eye of the Tiger and some other stuff out there for Sebastian, that would be really great. I've got a huge one that I don't feel like traveling across this country with. And I got a huge generator, again, that I don't feel like traveling halfway across this country with, but I do have equipment that I could take out there. But I just feel like there's going to be enough people out there, somebody can bring some of that stuff to the Sumner County Sheriff. I'll be out there in like 7 days, maybe 10 days. I'm unsure when I'm going to be out there. I was going to hit at the end of this month, beginning of August, to do some actual ground searches out there in some targeted areas that I saw that I think would be good. And also do some, this is going to be my questioning, where I have their photos, because if you guys remember, I had them laminated, but I left them here, and so I didn't have them when I went there the first time, so that kind of crippled me a little bit. So I will be bringing those photos out. We'll be hitting a lot of gas stations, a lot of anything off the roads, and anything that looks like someplace that someone could stop. We're going to find out if Chris went that way. We've also realized that Tennessee law enforcement's jurisdiction ends at the Tennessee line, so we're going to be going into Mississippi, and we're going to be questioning some people in Mississippi to find out if we can get a direction or a tap on Chris Proudfoot. I believe that we're going to be successful. I don't think he's going to have enough time to go out there and manipulate anything or anyone. And if he does, it's going to bring red flags to him in order to do so. So I think I'm safe enough to express what I'm planning on doing while I'm out there related to that. So if you guys want to clip it and send it to Chris, you're more than welcome to. You can also have Chris reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Would love to ask him some questions. Maybe he can help me with some information on this trip if he really does care about Sebastian or finding Sebastian, which, trust me, I won't be holding my breath to hear from Christopher Proudfoot or Katie Proudfoot for that matter, or the Bowersox, unless they're stalking me and trying to intimidate me, which, as they found out, is very difficult to do. So we are going to move forward with that on the 26th from 9 to 12. It looks like there's going to be multiple people there. It seems like it's going to be a great event and a great turnout from everything I've heard so far, with people in the community as well as other people that are going to be commuting to it. We're going to be starting at 9 a.m. The reason why I opted to do 9 a.m. versus the afternoon is, one, people that need to go back to work can get back to work by afternoon. The people that, that can't handle the heat, it's early in the morning, so it's going to be less heat than in the afternoon or evening time. I just thought it would be better prepared in the morning. Again, it just moves everything right along and gets everybody, going, as well as keeping people, cooler. And I just think it'll be cooler to start in the morning as opposed to late in the afternoon when things have to cool down. So that was kind of my philosophy on why I chose to do 9 a.m. to 12 noon as opposed to maybe like a 5 to 8 time frame. I just thought that would be too late. People trying to get off work after working all day, they'd just be too exhausted. And it wouldn't be fair to them. So I just thought that that little tidbit, the people that can come out for an hour or so can come out for an hour or so and advocate for this boy, advocate for what we need. I still haven't received, or it got lost in my emails, anybody that does signs professionally. I need a sign company to reach out to me. If we know somebody that's in the family, I'd like to spend my money with them as opposed to going to an outside source. Anybody knows? I like with Sonia, you know, could I order some shirts from Teespring? Of course I could, but I order my shirts through Sonia because I'm giving back, because she advocates for causes too, you know. And so I want to make sure that the money's going in where it's going to be the best utilized, right? So that's why I go to Sonia to get my shirts, and you guys should too. If you guys need custom shirts, she does an excellent job. And all your money is going toward a good cause. So it's like, it's a win-win for everybody. That's why I do the things I do. So if you are a sign company and you have signs, you know, and you're part of the family, I'd prefer using you and paying you money than paying somebody else. You get my drift? So who is this? Let me see. As if Chris would talk to you after the disgusting things. I don't really give a rat's ass about you, Amanda. Here, let me help you since you can't control your own bad behavior. Please don't ever come back on my channel again. You're not welcome here. I'm sorry, but Chris and Katie did horrible things to that boy. Okay? They're documented in CPS reports, and you can go ahead and say that, you know, I speak the facts. And if you don't like them, that's your problem to be had, not mine. You see what I'm saying? If you don't want to believe them, that's your business. I'm not going to force feed you, but you're not going to be here poisoning the minds of the people that are here to get information, whether you agree with it, because you can never possibly produce me any receipts that contradict my standings. None. Because they abused that boy before he disappeared. And you have nothing to say about that. So I wish you the best today. God bless you. But since you can't control your mouth, I'll control it for you. If you want to talk like that, go on pro Chris and Katie channels and stay off mine. This is not a pro Chris and Katie channel. This is a pro Sebastian channel. Okay? And two people did something terrible to that boy. Okay? That's why we're not pro them. If they were good parents and they could answer some darn questions, the language on this channel might be a lot different. But they can't. And they keep changing their stories. And they're caught with their pants down over and over and over and over and over again. And so while I can't teach you how to think, because I don't want you to be taught how to think or what to think, I want to teach you how to think, you know? And the bottom line is there's things called deductive reasoning, which most people refer to as common sense, okay? And it appears that there's a faction of people on this platform that have none. And that's not my problem. But the people that actually have this thing called common sense understand exactly why we talk about the way we talk. There was an SUV that matches his parents, Chris Proudfoot's parents' SUV. There's lights that go back to their house after somebody gets in that vehicle and leaves. These aren't like, you know, imaginary things that we're seeing. I mean, this is legitimate shit that is from legitimate sources that cannot be disputed. So yes, Chris and Katie, they have been given every opportunity to change my mind, and they've done nothing but solidify my standing and my stance. So Amanda, I can't fix you. But I can definitely tell you there's a lot of people that don't believe like you do because they have common sense and probably have a better education and probably stay off that marijuana stuff. I don't know, some of my audience like it. But they can still smoke it and not be stupid. Interesting. But you're welcome for giving you a little bit of time and airspace. I don't think any of them were really good to Sebastian. Well, that's your opinion. I can tell you that in the CPS reports, it is reported that the only place that Sebastian felt safe was at his father's house. You know, you don't get those kind of responses from a boy if the father is disgruntled and as mean as the mommy and the stepfather. I mean, you can think what you want to think, but we definitely have a lot of receipts, and a lot of receipts bode in direct conflict with that statement, in my opinion. Do we have stuff about Katie? Yes, we do. The worst thing we got about Seth is some divorce papers that weren't even founded. There's no court order of those findings. It was just crap that was peppered through divorce proceedings, which half of my audience has been through divorce, and I guarantee everybody knows that divorces are not the best place to get factual information about either side. Just saying, you know, but people ran with it because it was the narrative that was being ran with. It was the fact that people know that people are stupid on this app and they can just pull the wool over people's eyes here. I try to remove the wool over people's eyes. So sometimes, you know, people that want the wool over their eyes, they just want the wool over their eyes. I can only help a few, right? I'm here to save the ones that want to be saved. Not the rest, right? Not the rest. So, you know, you think the way you think, I'll think the way I think. But one thing you can do is, since you don't like my commentary, you're more than welcome to build your own channel and have your voice be heard on your own channel. But your voice will not be heard on mine. Just saying. I don't go to anybody else's channel to have my voice heard, right? I stick on my own channels. I don't need the attention of going and writing nastiness on people's channels or in people's comments and stuff like that. Why? Because I bring the facts. And arguing with an idiot only makes me look like an idiot. So it's one thing I don't do. I don't argue with them. Just like you. I'm not going to argue with you. I just block you so you don't have to, you know, I don't have to listen to your shit anymore. And neither does my audience. Because, you know what? We have common sense. We have deductive reasoning abilities. We have problem-solving capabilities. We can realize that their story stinks to high heaven. The math ain't mathing, right? If you look hard enough, can you make it work? Yeah, we can make it work by saying an alien came down and picked him up. We can make it work to say that he vaporized into thin air. I mean, we can make the story work. We definitely can make it work in favor of Chris and Katie. But how ridiculous are we going to get is the question. There's a reason a divorce is ugly and custody is a war. So add them together and you get lies. Yes, exactly, Bear. Exactly. And that's where they were getting their information, was this filing, right? This filing. There was no finding of that filing. They didn't even produce an order, an actual finding of the court. It was just this salacious stuff that was written in there. I mean, good gracious. It's a divorce of irreconcilable differences. What do you think they're going to do? Like say patty cake and have a kumbaya moment? Seriously? Crystal clear, right? Crystal clear. Why are you so lazy today? You know what you're gonna this dog likes to sleep all day, and then she's bouncing off the walls at 8 o'clock when I'm trying to do a live, and I can't do it because she won't go around. She won't fuck. She needs to play. She doesn't want to play. She just doesn't want to play. She wants to lay. She wants to be lazy. Okay, you can be lazy. My little girl. She's so cute. I got to clip her little nails, and she pulled a little bit here and a little bit there, but we got the clippers, and she let me clip her little nails. She was so good. She was so good. And she's been letting me put her harness on her. She hasn't been fighting me over her harness. Delilah 2024. I know she would make America great again. I think she would be the most presidential candidate. I think we should put her on the ballot. I mean, she's a little young, but I think she'll grow right into the job very, very, very well. You know, look at her. She's already got the look of confusion. It's the look every politician we see on TV has. She's already got the look. Look at that. She's like, what's going on over here? Would you quit impersonating President Biden? Jeez, impersonating President Biden on her first day on the job. She's got a personality. What can I say? She did Joe Biden pretty well, don't you think? I think she did great. Let's give Delilah a hand. I think Delilah deserves a hand for that incredible Joe Biden she just did. I think she was excellent. Who says this is not going to be a great dog for an actor? Jackie said she did. You want to do that again? I bet you we could do it again. I bet you we can get her to do it again. Let's see. Can you do a Joe Biden, please? Oh, no. Yeah, that's like kind of like Joe Biden kicking and screaming yesterday. There we go. Can you do a Joe Biden, please? There it is. Oh, there it is. What's going on over here? What's going on over there? Well, you know. Yeah. Can you formulate a word, please, for me, Mr. President? Definitely Joe Biden-like. Time for him to take his nap. Oh, she loves her mommy. She does. She's so good. She is. I got to tell you, did I tell you? Yeah, I think I started off this. Last night was the first time in her kennel. I've been taking, like, even Ginger reached out to me and she's like, you might want to do that. And I know better. And I know she needs to be in the kennel, at least until she's a little bit older. And I thought she was going to be howling all night long. But I also knew that, so I got my my black blanket, and that folds over the entire thing so she can't see out, and I put a blankie in there for in case she got a little cold, and she had some toys in there, and so she did whimper, but I don't even think she whimpered 10 minutes before she went to bed. And then she started whimpering about 3:11 this morning. At 3:11, and that's, I usually wake up between 3 and 3:30 to take her outside to go to the bathroom. And of course, we got up and went to the bathroom. And then, of course, I will be honest, from 3 o'clock on, she was with me. I couldn't handle it anymore. Okay. I think she would have been fine, but I couldn't handle it. So I'm going to keep putting her in the kennel. I'm going to probably start putting her down around 9 or 10 o'clock. And we'll be up at 3 a.m. and until she starts sleeping throughout the night, not getting up until like 7. And then when she does that, I think we'll start letting her, be a little more free. We'll see. I'll say stay in bed too. But every time she just sleeps and I'm like, nope. Right? I've been letting her sleep and I'm like, and then when she starts bouncing off the wall, it's like at the most inopportune time for her to be bouncing off the wall. Did I just see somebody walk up to I thought I saw somebody walk up to my door. I don't see anybody outside. Huh, interesting. That was weird. I thought I saw a shadow by my door. It's weird, but I don't see anybody. So this must have been a shadow on my glasses. I use a heating pad for I didn't even think about a heating pad. Yeah, she loves the warmth. She gets so cold, but out here it's warmer. It's like the office is freezing cold. The office, when I'm in the office, that's why I always wear, something around my arms, is because my office is so cold. And my bedroom is the second coldest room. So I'm constantly having, like right now I've got my house is 78 degrees, but out here you kind of feel it like it's 78 degrees, and I don't like, it's warmer out here, but when you go back to the back, it's freezing cold. So it's just the way that the house is designed, because the vents aren't up in the because I have a flat roof. There's no place for the vents. They can't put them in the ceiling, so there's no roof. So they had to do a air conditioning box that funnels the stuff from the back side of the house to the other side of the house. And it goes right down the middle of dividing between the kitchen and the living room, which is like an eyesore, but it is what it is. It feeds the air conditioner. The 1962 home with a flat roof. So I do plan on probably in the next 10 or 12 years, I plan on doing a roof lift, where they're going to put a normal, hip roof on here. But to change the whole roof, it just wasn't the right time or place to do so. Materials just got ridiculously expensive. Just to do the roof, I just had the roof estimated in 2018 or 2019 and it was $7,800 for a metal roof, a full metal roof, a full roof replacement. And when the hurricane came, it was over $14,000 that I had to pay for the roof. And it wasn't insurance. I had to pay for the roof. Like, I had to fork over $14,000. Now, I did get a little bit of money from FEMA, but I can guarantee it did not cover even remotely the damage I had. It like, I have floor damage. I had fence damage. I had roof damage. It didn't even cover a quarter of my roof, you know. And so relying on FEMA to help, if my house was like a total loss, then that would be something, but it wasn't a total loss. So I had to eat whatever they gave me, and it wasn't enough to cover the roof. I can tell you that. So long story short, that's where we're at. The roof has been put on, but the fence is still fallen. That's why the fence is out there. And it's been, in the time that I do have time to do it, it's too hot. And it seems like every time it becomes like Christmas and holiday area, we have all these people doing horrific things to their family members. So usually around the holidays is when I'm the busiest in this work, you know, because again, people do horrible things to people, and we find out which children are missing in this country, because that's when their families are supposed to be seeing them. So we get a lot of, you know, my child was out playing, like the Wests. Remember that? They both ran away. Nobody's seen them. Okay. I grew up on the island, Anna Maria Island. We always had damage with every storm, part of the island life. Wow, you were close to me, Emmy. I'm just right over the bridge. I used to live in Palmasola. I grew up in Palmasola, as a matter of fact. I grew up on 75th Street and 17th Avenue Northwest. That's my house. I was if you remember going down to like DeSoto Memorial Park down there at the end of 75th Street, I was the house on the corner that looked like a barn. It was built like a barn. I don't know why. It was a style back then. But I honestly believe that the barn style actually, because remember Andrew and I don't know how long you were out on Anna Maria Island, but 1992 Andrew hit, and we lost a few shingles, but I saw a lot of people's roofs a lot worse. I think that whole barn roof that kind of drapes over actually protected the house somehow. Yep, went through the same high school. Okay, gotcha. Well, welcome. Cane pride never dies. My mom was from Southeast. She graduated Southeast, and she's like, I'm really going to have children that go to Manatee High School? And the rivalry still goes on. And the rivalry still goes on. Unbelievable. So, yeah, that was me. Olivia lived out there, Emmy. Olivia lived out there on the islands. She just moved. I can tell you, they wish. I told, you know, you can't tell your friends anything. You know, I always try to support their decisions. I say my piece. Like, are you sure this is the right decision for you? You know, I always ask her. You know, because they were going to the mountain tonight. Ian told Olivia, I'm like, I understand. Why don't you guys just get a vacation home in the mountains and have a water house, like, you know, because Mom, I mean, think about it. Mom came from Cuba. Cuba's surrounded by water. They lived in Washington State on whatever island that was, which was a really poshy, bougie island, right off the, you know, like you could, right across from the space thing, right? The Seattle space thing. You could like go to, she pointed out the island that they used to live on. So they were surrounded by water. And then they moved to Anna Maria Island, which is surrounded by water. So Mom's whole entire life, no matter how you look at it, from Cuba all the way over to the United States, she's been surrounded by water. And to change the water to go to mountains, like I can see like a vacation home in the mountains, but full time. And so the last time I talked to her, it sounded like mom was getting a little homesick, but you know, they live in their house is beautiful. They're doing a lot to it. I got to see it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I know they're going to be happy in it. They have internet issues, which is going to make Olivia go absolutely insane. But I think it's a great time for her to learn her patience, right? Bainbridge Island. That's it, Alicia. That's it. Bainbridge Island. That's where she lived. Yep. I recognize the name. Absolutely. 100%, Alicia. You hit the nail on the head. Yep. That's it. And so, as you see, like, mom has lived around nothing but water her entire life, and she's going up to cold freaking mountains. That was about as you know, I supported Olivia when she was about to buy a farm out here in here in town. She was looking for a farm. The only thing that prevented her from buying it is because it backed up to Mosaic, which is, a phosphate mining company, and you're talking about major chemicals that are emitted from that facility, and God knows what kind of radiation's in the ground because of it. They're not going to tell you that, but it's true. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what the effects of Mosaic will be, no matter how good their advertisements and their stories about how they replenish the environment with trees. That's what I thought they did. Come to find out, they're a toxic freaking company that mines phosphate. So she ended up, but I supported her with that, but I was thinking, can you imagine Olivia doesn't get up before noon. Olivia doesn't get up before noon because she stays up all night editing videos, right? And I'm thinking, okay, Olivia getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to feed these animals. Oh, okay, Olivia. I love the property. I just want to remind you that it takes a lot of work to take care of those animals. Are you up for it? Oh, yeah. Okay, congratulations. Yay! Oh, I prayed for her. I prayed for her, and then she called me crying and saying, there's a phosphate mine. Well, the property probably wasn't for you anyways, hun. Right? I love her to death. I love her to death. I really do. I really do. But they have a beautiful house up there. I know that they're happy. It's just, I think moms need to be around water and heat. I think within a couple years. I even told them when they moved up there, I said, I have a funny feeling you'll be back in a couple years. I don't see mom staying in the cold. I think it's going to take one brutal snow and mom having to be out there and using a snow shovel to clear off their driveway and unearth their cars and everything else. And I'm thinking that it's going to be at that moment that they look around and say, I'm ready to go back to Florida, Farm hours are almost over by noon. Yeah, I know, right? So, hey, but you know what? I supported her. I would have went out there and helped her. She needed help, I wouldn't have liked it. I'd have begrudgingly helped, but I'd have went out there and helped her, if it got a little too much for her. So I need to take Delilah up to see Demon Dog. We've been talking, it's going to be a forced courtship. I think we finally I've decided that her dog and my dog are just going to be boyfriend and girlfriend because Delilah's really cute and yeah. He's neutered. Don't worry, we're not looking for puppies, okay? This is all facetious. This is all satire. It's all satire. We're going to be doing arranged marriages in this family. We find out that they're more successful than letting people try to pick out their partner themselves. We always make bad decisions, so we figured, we're going to try this arranged thing, see if it works out better, see what it's like in other countries, All right, guys. Well, it has been real. I hope you guys have an amazing day. For those that joined us in church, what a great message we had in church. North Braden. Oh, okay. North of Braden, Kentucky. So you're probably Parish or Palma. Parish isn't up and coming. We just last year approved a mess of stuff to go out in Parish. Ridiculous money. But I will tell you, if you're still in Manatee County, we need George Cruz in office. I'm sorry, I love KBO, but I don't like his policies. He has been bought and paid for by our developers. The only person that has really been standing up on that dais to fight against the developers in Manatee County has been George Cruz, and trust me, he's been standing on that hill alone. I talked to the Front Row Joes. He is somebody that the Front Row Joes are going to be endorsing. He's got the full endorsement of the Front Row Joes, Trump's Front Row Joes, and we're going to be doing a lot of that as we lead into the 2020 elections, as we get our whole team situated, into the RNC, the GOP, local GOP, and all the stuff that goes along with this whole political side, the stuff that I do politically. And if you know anything about George Cruz, I'm telling you, we need it. And they're sending out flyers. I just want to make sure this is on the record. They're sending out flyers that George Cruz called DeSantis an effing idiot. I hate to tell everybody on that dais that we all agree and concur with that. DeSantis has lost the vote of the will of, he's lost MAGA. He's got no path forward. We're going to be instilling a new governor to head the state of Florida. DeSantis is gone. DeSantis is an effing idiot, so that's why he's gone. So these flyers, when I get these flyers that said George Cruz called him an effing idiot, I'm like, well, no shit. Congratulations. While they're putting a park in DeSantis's name, were we pro DeSantis? Of course we were, until he pulled this shenanigans where he was going to try to run for president and instill somebody else to be governor of our country instead of letting the people of the state of Florida choose. He knew he was going to run. He knew he was going to run, and he allowed us to vote for him in the governor position anyways, after telling us to our face that he was not going to run for 2024. That's why we gave him the job. And then as soon as he gets the job, he starts campaigning for the presidency. He lost his job. We can't boot him out of the office of governorship, but him and the First Lady of Florida, you're fired. I don't know what else to tell you. You're fired. So we'll be moving DeSantis right along out of the party. He can go do dog catcher or whatever, he wants to do, but Florida is not going to be his cup of tea. I can tell you that. And I'll be door knocking, and I'll be calling, I'll be doing anything. I want to do that for Byron Donalds. I want Byron Donalds as Florida's governor. I'm willing to look at, Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is a good person that I'd like to run the state of Florida, but I'm really kind of balls to the walls for Byron Donalds if he's willing to do it. And I've been working on Byron Donalds literally since 2017. Every time I see him, when you gonna run for governor? Him and his beautiful wife. I got to I can't remember what it was. It was it was one of the events I went through that was expensive. You go all these classes and you have voting. I was part of the Liberty Caucus, the Republican Liberty Caucus. I was the secretary, so I had to go to this thing where they bring everybody from the United States into this Liberty Caucus. And Byron Donalds was there, and him and his wife were seated at my table. So I got to talk to him, which I've already known about him, but I really got to have a really good conversation with not only him, but his wife about his future as our governor. And that was way, way, way back then. And I have been working on him since way, 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 way. Maybe it was 2018. Maybe it was 2018, not 2017. So I've been working on him. Just like I've been working on Tommy Gregory. I want Tommy Gregory to take Vern Buchanan's seat. Tommy Gregory needs a crap ton of money to take on Vern Buchanan. And I need to find sponsors for Tommy Gregory. And if we can get Tommy Gregory enough finances, I think he would win against Vern Buchanan. I do not like Vern Buchanan at all. I think he's a snake. And he's got his plastic surgery too tight. Just saying. I sent the rose that he was buried by the email you already have. I looked at, I took it as a sign. What do you think? Oh, wow. I'll have to look at it. Are you talking to me? Are you a delegate, BHP? No, I'm not a delegate. If I was a delegate, I would have been required to be in Milwaukee. I'm working on it. That's one of the things that I've got to work on is working up the in our local REC, which is our Republican Executive Committee. I will be attending that. I've got to get my committee chairwoman's position back. There was some disruption because we had rhinos in our REC. And so I quit my position there. And then now that we had a new change of leadership, I tried to get back in and I was blocked by Donna Hayes, an old bag. And then now that we have kind of a disruption and discord in the REC, it's necessary that I get involved, and now it's going to be very difficult for them not to accept me with the current condition that we've got at the REC. But we'll see how it all goes. Once I become a committee woman, then I have to, start working from there. I know what I need to do. It's just that when it comes to the BS, I don't like arguing with people, and if it becomes too much, because I can bring attention to myself without all that circus, And the only reason why I put myself in that circus is for certain political moves that I need to make. So now that I have a clear direction on where we need to go with the Front Row Joes, now we all have to be involved in our REC, which I was already involved in our county. I was already a committee woman in the REC back in 2015. I think I was there until 2018 when I finally had it with Kathy King and her BS. And so I exited stage right real quick until she was forcibly removed out of her position. And then once she was forcibly removed out of her position, then I was going to go back, but I ended up going on the road for 2 years instead. We need strong delegates. Yeah, well, Brick Suit was there. Sharon was there. So we are building our delegates, our Front Row Joe delegates in the party, and we're baking them in. So it's just about getting them, getting all the rest of us instilled as delegates as well. So we need to be prepared for 2028. That's when we're going to be the most needed in the political runs in our local and communities. So right now it's all about interviewing people for the next several years to find out who we really want. And I recommend everybody doing that. I do this because it matters to me what goes on in this county. I made mistakes. I trusted friends like KVO. To me, he's done a lot for the 3rd district, but for the rest of the county, he hasn't done anything to but ruin it. They took our mangroves and they let the builders build up to the river's edge, basically 0% mangroves in wetlands. And I'm not an environmentalist, but that's totally irresponsible. That is self-serving to our developers, and our developers are alone. And quite frankly, it puts people's lives in danger, because at the end of the day, these are houses this is Florida. We have hurricanes and everything like that. That we can't, that was a poor decision. It was 50 feet. I was expecting a reasonable 25 feet or 15 feet. I think that's reasonable, but 0, that was self-serving to the developers, and anybody that's with Anthony Pedicini is bought and paid by developers and the swamp. So if whoever's handling their campaign, if it has anything to do with Anthony Pedicini, then they're the swamp. They're the swamp. Period. In this state. And Anthony Pedicini has his hands in a lot of political running people all up and down the state of Florida. So people need to be very attuned to who he is and what he does to this country and what he's doing to the state of Florida. It's all about money for these people. It's all about money and power, and I don't have time for that BS. I'm looking for statesmen. I'm not looking for people that have power and ego issues. I'm looking for people that want to help the people of this community, and only the people of this community. And I want them to do it with integrity, and I want them to do it with, the gifts God gave them. So, and that's not what's happening. And this is happening all across this country. So we all have to be involved. I hope everybody gets involved. Even if you're a Democrat, be a part of your Democratic. Actually, if you're a Democrat and you totally disagree with everything that's been going on, that's even more so why you should be a part of your local Democratic, committees, your executive committees. I think it's very, very important for everybody to be a part of it, because it's going to take all of us to make a difference in this country. We have to unify somehow. We're all entitled to be who we are. We're all entitled to vote the way we vote. We're all entitled to think the way that we're entitled to think. We're entitled to that. We're entitled to that as human beings. We're entitled to that as American citizens. And if you don't like the way this country is, it doesn't matter what part of the aisle you're on, get involved. Get involved. Trust me, we need you, especially in the Democratic Party. I think a lot of people that were regular mom and pops ran away from the Democratic Party because it was getting so crazy. That's when you need to stand in and step up. It's not when it starts getting crazy. That's what I did. When it started getting crazy, I bounced too. So I get it. But, we need to stay there and we need to take control back, because at the end of the day, if we all can agree we all want the same things, we just don't know how to get it, then let's fight for those things that unify us instead of the things that tear us apart. That's just my opinion. Take it for what you will, guys. I've been on here long enough. Happy Sunday. Go bless the Lord. You woke up. You made it on this side of the dirt. Trust me, a lot of people did not. So have a great day. God bless each and every one of you. And until next time, we'll see you soon. I'll probably be back later tonight on a more constructive live. This was kind of just shooting the breeze with my peeps. And hopefully you guys are all doing well today and at least enjoyed some of the conversation topics and the people in the chat. Again, thank you to all of my beautiful moderators here that keep this chat very peaceful. Don't forget to tell your moderators thank you. It is a blessing to have them all. And let me just see if we have anything here. I wanted to make sure Salty Mama knows 2 months. Yay! 2 months. And thank you, and God bless you for that. And then Michelle donated 1 gifted Bullhorn Betty membership. So thank you. If you received your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Michelle thank you. Michelle has been donating a lot of Bullhorn Betty memberships. So God bless her. Tell her thank you. Appreciate you being part of the family, my love. So you guys rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, we need to love thy neighbor. All of our neighbors, not the ones that are easy to love. God bless.